Well, it seems like we got another Godzilla Singular Point trailer. Actually, this is probably the final trailer because we also did get a date on it. There are two dates listed for this anime that's coming out of Toho Studios, animated by Bones and Orange. And you'll be able to see it on Netflix, and also it's going to be airing on Japanese television overseas and probably some other networks. Basically, we're going to get it about at least a week earlier than overseas, than in Japan. We're expecting Godzilla Singular Point to be on the Netflix run in just under within about a week and a half, depending on when you watch this. This is about the 25th of March, and on April Fool's Day, overseas in Japan, we'll be getting their version available to them in Japanese, not in English, and we'll get ours in English and Japanese. So far, it looks pretty good. I know there are those out there who are upset with the way Jaguar looks. Is this the whole entire? Because basically they are releasing somewhat of a toy line, which we have already seen what Godzilla looks like, and I think he's pretty bad. It looks pretty badass for an anime. Does it look better than the other version in that mini movie, that three-parter movie? I would have to say, yeah, he does look much better. He's got a better look to him. And then, of course, they did a lot more with lens flaring and everything, like all the animation, color, and everything around it looks really, it's really sharp right on there. Now, as far as Jaguar, I don't know if this is the final version of him. I mean, the toys look like it is the final version. What is he going to be? It's hard to say because, you know, one thing about this, even if you look on Wikipedia, there's not much of the premise. The only thing you can see is the main premise is it features a brand new staff and original story which depicts young geniuses Miko Kamo, a female researcher, and Yuri Arkawa, a male engineer, as they take on an unprecedented threat with their companions. That's about it. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, I don't know. We've been bitten a couple of times. I mean, this is right before the Godzilla versus King Kong movie comes out. Is it going to be against each other in a way that of a storyline? I don't think so. I mean, a completely different universe. But you got to remember, the animation itself, the two studios that are working on this for Netflix, because Netflix has a deal with these companies. You know, one of them is Bones, who's responsible for stuff like Full Metal Alchemist, Raxion, Ghost Slayer, Space Dandy. It's a whole list. My Hero Academia, Mob Psycho. They've done animation for most of these animes. And as far as Orange, if you're not familiar with Orange, they're also responsible for Beastars. If you haven't seen Beastars, I think Beastars is one of the best animated. I mean, next to Mushiko Tenshin, it's one of the best animated series that's on any social media site. Basically, you're talking about a very detailed animation, and the look, the feel, the music, everything all around it. It feels so good. I mean, they're responsible for that, and not too many other things. Dimension W, Monster Strike movie. I mean, Black Bullet, Active Raid, Dimension. Yeah, like I said, Dimension W. Majestic Prince, and that's the Orange side of the company. So you got two good companies on here. I mean, Netflix has been criticized for a lot of his anime. I mean, Castlevania was very good. I enjoy Pacific Rim, that which we will detail in another episode for you. High Rise Invasion was okay. And a couple others, it varies. It depends on the anime itself, where it came from, who was the company. I mean, there's some good stuff and there was some bad stuff. I mean, it varies on there. The Great Pretender is another one that was very good. You know, and there's a whole list of them, and there's a whole list of bad ones. You have to remember, you know, Netflix has its highs and lows, and it's had its controversial moments and stuff like that. They're getting their foot deep in the water. And the thing about it is they've already been around for quite some time. You have other companies, you have other sites. You know, you got Paramount that just joined into the streaming wars. You already have Apple TV and stuff. And some of these others are not putting out the detail shows. I mean, they're putting out their own animation, and some of them are going into the anime part of the business, but they're just not there. And I think Netflix has the advantage right now to really overtake, you know, the whole business. I mean, the only other really good competition against them is Funimation / Crunchyroll, and there's still issues with them. You know, they just Sony just bought Crunchyroll, and it's just being phased out of Warner into their systems. And you gotta say, where's High Guardian Spice? I still ask that to this day. Where is that? But getting back to Godzilla Singular Point, the new trailer has shown a couple of new extra things on there in the way of kaijus. I mean, there's two more noticeable kaijus in there, two famous ones that they haven't been used not that often, but you're familiar with them. The first is one of the older ones. Some of you who are Godzilla fans from the Showa era will know it as Spyga or Kumanga, which was seen in Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, All Monsters Attack, Godzilla vs. Gigan, and of course in Final Wars it was also seen as well. And that's the spider creature on there. If you're not a Godzilla fan, you wanted to know what it is. It is the enormous mutated spider that has been in those movies, and you've seen them. And it looks like it's also another new design. Seems a little bit more tighter, stuff like that, and color is a little bit different. But then again, they try to get it as close up. The other one is one of my favorites. You know, a lot of people didn't like this movie at all, and that is Hedorah, also known in the U.S. version as the Smog Monster, Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. And they've given him a different look. He looks more like a plastic bag, almost. He's like a shinier look. You know, some people say, oh, he's almost like if it's a plastic bag. Now, if you're not familiar with Hedorah, Hedorah has only been seen in 2 films, and that is basically Godzilla vs. Smog Monster, his headline movie, and Final War, a brief glimpse in Final Wars. And that's the only time that it's ever been used, and it has been used ever since then. And if you're not familiar with what this kind of creature is, this creature was made up of garbage and pollution. It was sort of the time period, Godzilla versus Hedorah, you know, it was sort of a pollution message, you know, you can't be polluting the world and stuff like that. You know, if you don't, you end up with a monster like this. It's a good concept. It's a very good concept, the music. And an interesting part of it is that there are 2 versions of the title song. Most people know it as Save the Earth, which I got a custom t-shirt from a particular site that has it on there. Great t-shirt on there. Recommend go out there and tag that. It's a nice t-shirt. The song is actually called "Give Back the Sun," which is in Japanese. There's a Japanese version, and then it was dubbed into English by another singer. So there are 2 versions. So technically, there are multiple versions of this. Titan Productions, American International Pictures, Toho. They're all various versions of there. There are some TV versions. There are some cable versions. Most of them are not available. I think we have it down to just Godzilla versus Hedorah. You know, I have it in my set on the Criterion Collection on there, and I still watch it every once in a while. It's a great movie. Now, there was supposed to be a sequel, but there's some problems came around, and it never happened. It never happened. And then later on, years later, when we got Final Wars, which was sort of a rehash of destroy all monsters. We got to see Hedorah again. Now, so far we've seen a lot of monsters show up, a lot of the old designs. You know, we had Gabra, Anguirus, Jaguar, all they got update designs. Your Titanosaurus we saw in the trailer on there as well, giving itself a reboot of Rodan also. But one, maybe I've missed it or something like that. One still not seen is the creature from Seatopia himself, Megalon. Are we getting a Megalon in this series? It's hard to say. I mean, this is a season 1. I mean, they could add on. I mean, there's so many monsters that they could use for this. And like I said, when you see Gabra, they brought back on Hedorah, Spyga. You know, they brought back a lot of monsters for this series. I mean, this could be I'm sorry to say, this could be a rehash of Destroy All Monsters, but in a different way. I mean, it looks really good so far, and we hope it lives up to its reputation, because this is a joint venture between Netflix and Toho Animation, Bones, Orange. You know, you have the people putting in. This is not some third-party rate companies that just joined together to do this. This is the actual companies themselves, and one of them happens to be the IP holder for this series. One thing is that I've loved Godzilla. It has been a great, from the Showa to present. I've enjoyed many of the movies. Some of them have not been good. I enjoyed the 3-movie anime. I mean, it was, you know, a lot of people didn't like that. I did like the premise of it. It was good, but I'm always into a good kaiju movie. So you've reached this part of the video. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing, but hit that subscribe, because I know 90% of you haven't hit that subscription button yet. So hit that subscribe, like, share this video, hit that notification bell when you know when new episodes of Man with the Show on Cuticast TV does air. We try to be on daily. There are going to be more episodes spread out on more days, and there's a lot more to coming, especially the return of Saturday Pre-Flight. We're getting that back together again, so look for that very, very soon. Thank you again, and we'll see you on the next video.
A happy moment.
I was at a dance when she caught my eye, standing all alone, looking sad and shy. We began to dance, swaying to